Hello class, this is Professor Lama from your network security class, NWIT 173. So I would like to go over the defense in depth or layered security, uh, kind of review what we did in class last week. So you might want to protect the data, right? That is what you want to protect at the core level. So while protecting with password or user authentications or other method of AAA authentications, you can also do your own backup, right? You do your backup and you perform your user training, due diligence with the encryption and monitoring, correct? So these are defense in depth. This is the idea when you do your encryption, when you implement your monitoring, user training, and you do your updates and upgrades. That is defense in depth. Of course, it goes all the way to firewall. As a matter of fact, you could go to physical peripheral protection. You might want to have a security with security guard or a key fob with badges or locked door kind of policies. So this is defensive depth. The idea is if something falls, if something uh, did not catch the virus, another one will catch it. If there is some kind of vulnerability, uh, uh, the other one, the other layer will catch it, so there won't be attack. Okay. We will talk a little bit about the firewall, basically hardware and software based strategies, and there's also firewall stateful and proxy app kind of layering. So software based and hardware based kind of controls. This can be bypassed or packets can be inserted, for example, for social engineering, or packets can be inserted in an email. Unwanted packets, unwanted data that does some damage to our system. So firewall is not really secure. However, it serves as a layer of defense. So let's go to hubs. Well, let's omit the hubs, switches and routers. Switches, they accept network devices, and they are also smarter than hubs. And these are semi-secure due to its use of MAC address. So switches use MAC address. So there need to be some known destination. So for that MAC address to arrive, this is similar to with the switches and routers. Is similar with the USPS knowing your address, how to when to deliver it, knowing the address. So routers use IP address, so it should not be very difficult for a router to send the packets or the data to the appropriate PC, to the appropriate owner. DMZ, we also have DMZ, demilitarized zone. It's not the best or the most secure outside of the firewall, unless multi-firewalls are utilized. Okay, I'm sure you do understand what DMZ is, demilitarized zone. It is similar to where and North Korea and South Korea have issues. So DMZ, demilitarized zone, separate from your own network. You're gonna have a separate network also where dedicated users or guests can access it. That is a demilitarized zone. You can use it for email or other type of services also. We'll talk a little bit about social engineering. This is about people trusting people, basically. This makes it very vulnerable. Social engineering, people send emails and attacks and perform various types of attacks. Okay, there is also denial of service, exploitation, and threats. We'll talk about it. We also have intrusion detection system. We'll talk about it as well. This only detects intrusions. We'll talk a little bit about the CIA Triad, uh, uh, continu continuity, integrity, and availability of the Triad. This is basically the foundation of the defense in depth or layered defense. So there are advanced threat protections, host-based and network-based securities also. We'll talk a little bit about the perimeter compared to physical protection or physical security. Perimeters basically require badges and cameras or IDs or password for different type of devices you may have. whereas physical can be a security guard, or actually a badge also. Camera is also physical. Biometrics also, where you can go to an organization and fingerprints or your eye retina scanner. So you can use various types of system. The idea of defense in depth is basically to protect everything in the system, your asset, your people, your software, your system, your network. But it's gonna have to be set up in a layered manner of protection. A good example would be uh, uh, firewall protection, and then you have physical protection, and then you have peripheral protection, and then you have system protection, antivirus, anti-malware, and then you have all the way to password for each user. Of course, we always have the policy related of that, okay? And if you see this here, this is research done in 2015, okay? This is about 5-6 years old. So if you notice this, financial services and energy, they lose a lot of money. Okay, this was 6 years ago. So in millions by industry. So if we go to the next level by country, but this was in 2019, this is about $1.7 trillion loss just for the US. Okay, and we have Japan and Germany, most of developed countries where they get the most attacks. They lose a lot of money. Okay, this is done by Poneman Institute and Accenture. When we were talking about the packets earlier with the switches and routers, a good example is this. For example, PCA, the machine A right here tries to send data to B. However, the switch accepts the data with all its packets and information, and distributes it to all the pieces around it connected to it. However, only the one with the public key infrastructure or PKI will be able to open it. If we look here with the router, it uses IP address instead of MAC address here. So it uses the IP address, and it knows the exact address, where to deliver it, where to send it, and instead of sending it to all BCD machines, it will send it just to the correct machine. Okay, this is the idea. So this is very similar to the OSI model. However, don't get it confused. If you would like to know about it, just call me or text me, and I'll explain the OSI model. But this is the hardware connectivity and security layers. Okay, you protect the data like we talked earlier. You want to protect the application, the computer, the network, and physical aspect of it. These are all under the policies and procedures and awareness. If you try to do something, some kind of, for example, recon or reconnaissance, you're gonna have to follow the policies and procedures here. If you want to do a physical security or implement something, purchase a software, install it, you still are gonna have to follow policies and procedures. So you might wanna keep in mind that everything lies on top of the policies and procedures. Okay.